You all welcome back to African Colonization TV. In today we'll go into history and some of the Igbo history, some of the British and the British colonial masters, how they conquer some of the part of the Igboland and now take and finally take over. Today history we are diving into the issue surrounding the Ekumeku War between the Anioma people and the British people, how everything went through those days. According to the title, Britain 31 Years War in Igboland, the untold story of Ekumeku resistance started from 1883 to 1914. This 1914 was when the British finally conquered the southern region, and during that time when they joined the north and the south, they created it become the north protectorate and the south protectorate. It is during the time of 1914 that they amalgamate Nigeria, the north and the south, and during then it is when they finally capture the southern region, which is the Britain finally captured the southern region. Well, this our brother is going to tell us a little brief history concerning how everything went through. So don't skip any part of the video. Try to watch to the end, because sometimes it is good for us to learn and to study the back of those days, the history and what really happened before the British now take over, and the reason why since then till now the British they still insist they are still believing that what happened during the Ekumeku War is still what is still going on till date, because they don't believe that there is a time Igbo man forgive them because of the evil they did, because of what they did. So, and then when they want to leave the country, they now take over the power and give it to the North, because they don't believe in Igbo man. Because whenever they remember the war, in fact, they will be very frowned and they will be very angry. So don't skip any part of it. Try to watch it to the end for you to understand everything that happens in this video, because this video is full of a lot to learn. As you're about to watch, like, subscribe, and make sure you share the video to go around. Let others see what is really going on in Biafra land.
The Ekumeku movement consisted of a series of uprisings against the rising power of the Royal Niger Company of the British Empire by Anioma people in present-day Delta State. The British penetration of Nigeria met with various forms of resistance throughout the country. In the south, the British had to fight many wars, in particular the wars against the Ijebu, a Yoruba group, in 1892. The era of Eastern Igboland in 1901 to 1902, and from 1883 to 1914, the Anioma in Western Igboland. Now let's look at the war. The Ekumeku movement dates 1883 to 1914. Location: Onisha-Olona, Isele-Ukwu, Onisha-Ugbo, Isele-Asaba, Obio, Umunede, other Aniosha communities, Abo and Onisha, a lower Niger River. And the result, the British had victory. Territorial changes, the establishment of Southern Nigeria Protectorate. Belligerents, British Empire, now Ekumeku organization. Commanders and leaders. On the British side, we have Major Festin, W.E.B. Crawford Copeland, Lieutenant Colonel H.C. Morehouse, S.O. Crewe. Now on the Ekumeku organization, Dunku Isusu of Onisha Olona, Maya Nwa Isusu of Onisha Olona, Oche Nwa Areze of Onisha Olona, Elumelu Okachi of Onisha Olona, Nwabuzo Iyogolo, Awuno Ugbo, Nzekwe, Agbambu Nwa Oshue of Ibuzo, Idabo of Iselukwu, Abuzo of Idumoje Uno, Idegwu Otokpoike of Oburukwu, Ochie Agodi, Agbambu Oshue, Chidi Nwoji, etc. Now let's look at the strength. On the British side, they had hundreds of soldiers, and on the Ekumeku side, they have hundreds of soldier members, hundreds of Ekumeku members. Now on the casualties, the British had minor, while on the Ekumeku, minor with mass imprisonment. Now let's look at the history. The opposition was strong in Anioma land, where a series of wars waged against the British. The Ekumeku, who were well organized and whose leaders were joined in secrecy oaths, effectively utilized guerrilla tactics to attack the British. Their forces, which were drawn from thousands of Anioma youth from all parts of Anioma land, created many problems for the British, but the British used forceful tactics and heavy armaments, destroying homes, farms, and roads to prevail. The Ekumeku, however, became a great source of Anioma nationalism. The Ekumeku movement is unique in Anioma history and Igbo history in general for two reasons. First, the length of time the movement endured, comprising military campaigns over a period of 31 years. 31 years. Secondly, it is an outstanding example in Anioma civilization of an attempt to unite previously disunited states to resist the colonial army. You have seen that one crucial reason for Anioma's defeat was the great discrepancy of skill between the average Anioma community and the colonial army. The British decided on a preemptive strike and in December 1902 sent a powerful expedition that systematically destroyed a number of towns and imprisoned their leaders. This is what's assumed was the end of the Ekumeku. The Ekumeku and other secret societies have been completely broken. In 1904, the Ekumeku rose again. This time they changed their tactics mistakenly. It would seem in retrospect, abandoning the united guerrilla warfare of the 1898 for the individual defense of each town. The last act of the Eureka drama began in late 1909. The occasion was a succession dispute in Ogwashukwu. One of the claimants, Nzekwe, the son of the last Obi, feared that the British would deprive him of his throne and decided to fight for his inheritance. On November 2, 1909, the British sent an expedition to Ogwashukwu, but they failed in the expedition. The British perceived in the whole Asaba hinterland sympathy with the Ekumeku, a disposition to throw off government authority. In 1911, there was a final roundup of the Ekumeku leaders in various towns that were followed once more by imprisonments. The acting lieutenant governor of the southern provinces sent an agitated telegram to Lagos. The whole country is above area. It's the state of rebellion. Reinforcement arrived from Lokoja and the British proceeded to a confrontation at Akebe. We quote both the contemporary British accounts of the battle at Nkwo Market. The war. With the invasion of Ndoni in 1870 and bombardment of Onisha on 2nd November 1897, the stage was set for the Ekumeku War that engulfed the whole of Anioma. The Royal Niger Company, RNC, commanded by Major Festin, engaged Ibuza in 1898. And in 1904, it was the people of Owa Ikunzu against the British in a war that W.E.B. Crawford Copeland requested for more arms to crush the Western Anioma communities. Owa would once again engage the British in 1906 in battle that S.O. Kriwe lost his own life. On 2nd November 1909, it was finally the turn of Ogwachiukwu who matched the British. In this war, the British sustained many casualties with the death of H.C. Chapman. Aftermath. Although the Ekumeku failed in 1914, but the Western Anioma treasure their memory as an imperishable legacy. Heroes included Dunkus Isus of Onisha Olona, Mwabuzo Iyogolo of Ogwachiukwu, Awuno Ubo, Obi of Akomazi, Abambu Oshue of Ibuzo, Idabo of Iselo Azaba, Oshai Areze of Onisha Olona, Abuzo of Idumejuno, Idegwu Otokboike of Uburuku are still remembered in Anioma land and Igboland in general. The Ekumeku War is one of the most vigorous campaign of opposition to the British Empire and inspired later rebellions such as the Mau Mau of Kenya.
Oh yes, this man he has tried. He's a historian. According to the the whole story, starting from the beginning to the end, you have seen how the Ekumeku War was being fought. Make sure that they try to deal with the British Empire then, and then since then till now, the war is still on. And if you can see very well, this issue of one Nigeria or no one Nigeria, no time the South accept to become one. No time they sit down, the Igbo, mostly the Igbo precisely, no time they sit down and accept to become one. Everything is being done by force amalgamation, force acceptance, and the force everything. And then if you can see, the whole thing is about the company, Loyal Niger Company. They want to milk the country, they want to suck, and they want to make sure that they are gaining from every corner of the country. And since then till now, the Britain, they are still in upper hand. They are still there, milking the country by every angle. That is it. And that is why no matter whatever that happens in the country, the British, even though till date, they will never speak. They will never say anything. As you can see, the issue of Christian genocide, the issue of every zone is clamoring to divide the country, and everything is happening. None of them is talking. Instead of it, they will tell you that Nigeria, they believe in one, it is indivisible and unnegotiable. So, starting from the pre-colonial masters down to these days, they are the one that is on top, gaining and they're making lot of gain from the people's suffering, from the people's wealth, from the people's land and everything. They are the one making every gain. So, and then somebody like that is making all those gain will not and they will never accept to tell you that he will negotiate for you to be free. Nigeria is still their slave, and they are still the slave masters. So, and those leaders you are seeing, that is governing the country, they are, in fact, they are loyal to those Britain, they are loyal to the UK, they are loyal to them. That is why whatever they do, they'll need to ask questions before doing it. So I will allow you to watch this also little story concerning Nigerian and the British colonialism and how everything is being done to date. So don't skip any part. Keep watching. We have a very, very interesting video for you.
In 1960, Britain drew a map. They took millions of people with nothing in common, different languages, different religions, different histories, and forced them into one nation called Nigeria. It was a ticking time bomb. By 1966, the explosion was inevitable. After independence in 1960, Nigeria was divided among three ethnic groups: the Hausa Fulani in the north, the Yoruba in the southwest, and the Igbo in the southeast. The Hausa dominated. The north controlled the federal government. The Igbo, particularly their intellectual and entrepreneurial class, were seen as a threat. When an Igbo military officer attempted a coup in January 1966, northern officers responded with a counter-coup that summer. According to historical records, they didn't just overthrow the government, they massacred Igbos, systematically, violently. Over 1 million Igbos fled their homes in the north and crowded into the eastern region. Their homeland had become a refugee camp. They weren't just marginalized anymore, they were hunted. On May 30th, 1967, Lieutenant Colonel Ekumeku Ojukwu declared independence. The Republic of Biafra was born. 30 million Igbos, tired of being treated as second-class citizens in their own country, said, "We're leaving." The federal government's response was brutal. They imposed an economic blockade. No food, no medicine, no weapons, nothing. The war lasted 2.5 years. The death toll? Between 1 and 3 million people. Most weren't soldiers, they were children, women, the elderly, starving. The world watched images of skeletal Biafran children on television and finally understood the cost of ethnic persecution. On January 15, 1970, Biafra surrendered. General Ojukwu fled to Côte d'Ivoire. The dream was dead. The nation reintegrated into Nigeria. But something remained alive in the Igbo spirit, a memory of injustice that would not be forgotten. For decades, that memory lay dormant. Then, in 2012, a British-Nigerian activist named Nnamdi Kanu, born in 1967, the exact year Biafra declared independence, founded the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. Kanu had grown up in England but maintained deep roots in Igboland. He understood something crucial. The forces that destroyed Biafra never disappeared. The ethnic favoritism, the northern dominance, the Igbo marginalization. They were still there, embedded in Nigeria's structure. So he launched Radio Biafra from London, a pirate station broadcasting from United Kingdom soil, and began speaking directly to Igbos inside Nigeria, reminding them of Biafra, of their dignity, of their right to self-determination. By 2014, IPOB had exploded. Not into violence, Kanu had explicitly adopted the philosophy of Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr., advocating civil disobedience and passive resistance, but into a movement. Millions of Igbos, especially youth, began wearing IPOB insignia, attending rallies, demanding a referendum on independence. The Nigerian government panicked. In October 2015, they arrested Kanu on charges of treason. He was detained for 18 months without trial. When international pressure mounted, they released him on bail, but with conditions. No public appearances, no interviews, no gatherings larger than 10 people. Conditions meant to silence him. Conditions he refused to accept. In September 2017, Nigerian military forces raided his home in Umuahia, killing 28 IPOB members. Kanu disappeared. The government claimed he jumped bail. Others suspected he was dead. For months, there was only silence and speculation. But in October 2018, photographs emerged placing Kanu in Israel, alive and organizing. In 2020, he established the Eastern Security Network, a militia group designed to protect Igbo farmland from what IPOB called herders' invasion. By 2021, Kanu was extradited from Kenya back to Nigeria to face trial, a process documented as an extraordinary rendition, an unauthorized abduction across international borders. Since 2021, Kanu has been held in custody, facing charges of terrorism, treason, managing an unlawful society, and illegal weapons possession. His trial has become a symbol. Every court appearance draws thousands of supporters. Every bail denied sends ripples through the Southeast. What's happening now is a direct continuation of what began in 1967. It's not a new conflict. It's an unfinished war, a war of ideas, of identity, of whether an ethnic group systematically marginalized within a nation-state has the right to determine its own future. The difference? This time there's no physical blockade. This time the weapon isn't starvation. This time the weapon is the law, the prison cell, the terrorism charge, the suppressed voice. 55 years after Biafra fell, the question remains unchanged. Who decides what happens to the Igbo people? Logos or the Igbos themselves? Nnamdi Kanu says the Igbos should decide. And for that, he sits in a cell waiting for a trial that may never come. This is the real history of Biafra. Not a war that ended in 1970, but a struggle that continues in courtrooms and on Radio Biafra broadcasts and in the hearts of millions who remember what their ancestors fought for. If this moved you, if you're seeing the connection between the Civil War and what's happening right now, comment below. Tell me, did you know the Biafran War and Nnamdi Kanu were connected? Did you understand what IPOB is really fighting for? Or is this your first time understanding that Biafra never actually ended? Like this video. Share it with someone who needs to understand that some wounds don't heal in 55 years. They transform. They evolve.
Oh yes, that is it. To address the side of where he say extra rendition him back to Nigeria, that is not extra rendition. That is kidnapping, because the process they used to bring him back to Nigeria, even though they caught in Kenya, after the judgment, everything, Mazam Kanu won them in Kenya. The process they used to bring him back to Nigeria. So, and then coming down to the case, how Omotosho judged the whole case, he judged it in a way that's in the favor of Nigeria. So he did not judge it in the normal way. He did not judge it according to the law. So he manipulates everything just to favor the government of Nigeria. So that is what is there. And this issue of war of independence of Igbo or independence of Biafra, it has been a long time war, starting from the beginning of Ekumeku, 1883 to 1914, when the war looked as if it ended. Then amalgamation begins, north and the south. So down to 1970 to 1967 to 1970. So when another war started. So all those things, it is something that the North and the South never accept to be as one country. They never accept to love themselves. And they never accept to become one. So that is what is there. But as a country, as a government, they will never tell you the truth. And they will keep on telling you that Nigeria is negotiable. And Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that. The issue of Mazam Kano sentencing him is not the end and will not stop the movement. Going to Finland and then sentencing Simon Ekpa will not stop the movement and will not end the cry, because the main issue of the Igbo being saying that they want to go is because of injustice, manipulation, nepotism, and many things in the country. So you don't accept them to become part of you. Then why can't you let them to be on their own? And the issue of killing every day in Nigeria as it is today. So many things is happening. Many things is happening. Well, I would like to hear a comment down below. What do you think about the whole thing? How the war started and down to these present days, which we are today. So I would like to hear a comment down below. Like, subscribe, and make sure you share the video to go around. Let others see things happening in Nigeria. Say thank you for watching.